my first thoughts about substance abuse and drinking and all that stuff, I used to always blame skateboarding. That was my first blame, Oh, it's skateboarding. Like, it fucked me up. It like did this. But you start, it takes a long time. It took a long time for me. I had to fucking start looking at myself and take responsibility for myself. It's not skateboarding. It's fucking, I'm still trying to figure out what it is, so.
I can understand blaming skateboarding though.
Yeah.
It seems reasonable.
You want to blame everything at first until you start looking at yourself.
Yeah.
You want to blame your mother, your father, this, that, like everything around you. Like, but you got to take responsibility, and that's not easy. I mean, your 20s, yeah, you're young, and you have, physically, it's all good, but I think in your 30s, you know a lot more. You're a little bit more strategic, and you can put things together and be more creative. But at the same time, you have the physical still and capabilities of doing whatever you want. So, but unfortunately, the mentality that I thought or that I had was, I was watching guys retire when they were in their 20s.
Yeah.
So that didn't leave a good impression on the longevity of a career in skateboarding. By the time I hit 30, I was like, I can't believe I'm on a chocolate tour at a pancake house celebrating my 30th birthday in the morning. I felt like it didn't feel good. I just felt over the hill and like already questioning my future and what am I going to be doing with my life? Like 30 is too old to be a skater, and now 30 is young. So, if only you could just be in the know, in the moment, in the time, instead of having to look back and say, why did I have to like trip so hard? But unfortunately, it's like, you talk to anybody, everybody feels old, everybody feels over the hill, everybody feels, so I always try to say to anyone younger than myself that's doing the same thing, like, dude, just take advantage now, man. Yeah. You're not old. Just like, keep it moving. Don't waste time on that bullshit. So
when did you stop drinking?
I stopped drinking in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a few years now, man. That's sick.
Yeah.
Was it difficult?
Was it difficult? Well, at that time, no. Because I guess it was just my time. Was it difficult for 20 years before that? Very difficult, yeah. But that time I ended up in treatment once again. And it was just a point in my life when, I had who is my significant other right now, my lady. We just met, and it was someone I didn't want to lose. And I realized, or I had already known for a long time that like I really can't hold on to anything if I continue living like that. So do I want this to work? Yeah. So that was a big kick in the ass to like, get sober, as well as I don't necessarily want to get into all that.
Yeah.
But I'd gone through so much shit with drinking that it was just, I exhausted, my, like how much longer I can do it. And not to mention, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. There was something about it, I guess I liked. Maybe it was checking out of life, and for whatever reasons. And but I didn't want to live that way for a long time, and I found it difficult to stop. I would stop for periods of time.
Oh, so you tried stopping before?
I mean, that was my whole thing. Was every time I didn't drink, every time I wasn't drinking, I was trying to not drink, and I would go a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I would start to drink, and then that would go on for however long. But so I was either extremely sober, extremely healthy, or I'd fall off and I'd be a complete pile and just, do my thing drinking and kind of like tuck myself away and disappear. But I wasn't enjoying it. I mean, it was always a struggle. It was, you see your life kind of going backwards, not forwards. And it was just my time to stop, man. And I always thought like, yeah, I see a lot of people around me getting sober, guys I know, people and then seeing how their lives turned around, and, the Aves, the guys, and just people that, friends of mine, just personal friends, and how good they were doing. And I was like, it looks like if I just got sober, I think things would be good and I'd be all right. And I just could not. I always thought I'm like the last man to get. Am I the last one in the world to get fucking sober, to be able to get sober? And it felt like that for a while. And then finally, yeah, it just, it was my time. So, um, and then I ended up, having 2 kids and,
That gives you even more of a
it
reason.
was just like everything started to happen. It was interesting. It was an interesting time. I mean, uh, my biggest fear was like losing sponsors
Mm.
and skateboarding coming to an end for years. That was always the fear. That's always the fear because that's my life and that's what I do. That's where my money comes from. And then it just so happened that like I went into treatment. I got sober. I still had all my sponsors, but then like COVID came. I was still sober. I lost Nike, didn't re-sign me, and it was the first time not being re-signed for like 18 years with Nike. And but at the same time, I knew like that's kind of something I probably need. I need to like some kind of change, some kind of kick in the ass, and then that then that kind of kicked me in the ass to like get on top of poets, start a brand, and like just start doing things. And then I just started seeing things start to happen that could probably only happen by being sober and naturally. Not that it was easy to be sober, like it was for the first like year or two, kind of. Because I was just like, wow, I got a year. That's amazing. I always like imagined getting my year cake, like in the program, all that shit. And I did, and it was all happening and it was cool. And then it just started to get hard. Then it started to become like, okay, the vacation sobriety is over. Now it's time to feel like what it's like and who you are and how difficult and maybe why you even began to use substances like from day one,
Yeah.
and start to, I don't know, they call that the onion. You're peeling the layers and that takes time. So it's such a ill conversation, sobriety and how it is for me. I'm sure for everyone else that gets sober and it's like lifelong and, you have your slips and your relapses, but like, I feel like once you get sober the first time, something happens and there's some like, awakening and, and some sense of like awareness that can't be denied and it can't be forgotten either. Uh, it can be forgotten. You can relapse and you can, not so much forget how things used to be, but just get to a point where you feel like you're willing to go back there. Um, but either way, yeah, something happened back in 2018 and it was, I think something that's going to stick with me forever. And, you know, um, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
I mean, it works with the pro skating. Like you could be 20 whatever drinking and be a pro skater and still like you have a career, you have checks coming in,
yeah,
you have a real way of making a living, you're traveling the world. It could almost seem like this drinking is actually not fucking getting in the way of shit
yeah.
right now. It's actually not.
Well, for a long time during those days, I thought that's what skateboarding, being a pro was, like going back to what you talked about, the rock and roll lifestyle. Not that it was rock and roll for me or anything like that, but the partying every night and like everyone I hung out with or I surrounded myself with was doing the same thing. And it just seemed like it came with the territory. Like, oh, I'm a pro skateboarder. That's what we do. We drink, we party, we do drugs and, all that shit that comes along with it.